What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Batgirls, issue number 19. Once a Batgirl, always a Batgirl. That's right, this is the final issue of the Batgirls comic book. It's over, it's done, and the characters are going to go off and do other things. Now, overall consensus, I thought the issue itself was just an alright kind of issue on its own. I don't think this storyline really ended on like the strongest note it possibly could have had. I think we've had better issues of Batgirls and more interesting stories earlier on in this run, maybe a couple issues ago, that kind of carried it. Really, once the annual kicked in, it started to get pretty good, and then it just kind of went out on a bit of a underwhelming note. They basically have to fight kind of leftovers of the Saints, if you will, like just a character like Gunbunny and all that that's been trying to shoot people and that. I don't know, just like as a big concluding issue to this storyline, it just felt kind of all right. Now, Batgirls, it was it's a book I wanted. I wanted to see all three Batgirls kind of really learn from each other, really elevate it, have some interesting stories, but as it stands, it just kind of was all right. Like, there's nothing really truly atrocious, I think, about this book. I think it felt kind of safe, if that makes sense. The artwork of this issue is pretty nice overall. You get some great panels of Cass, who really is the standout in this particular issue. They have to stop the two shooters, and, you know, they have people who are there to defend the Batgirls, and, you know, they have to, like, through the power of motivational speeches and, you know, they're able to stop somebody from killing somebody in the process, because there's, you know, some stuff going on with that. And like I said, the stuff with Cass, there's some great panels of her really kind of kicking some ass and doing her thing, and eventually everything's wrapped up in a nice little bow. They're going to go off and kind of do their own things, and, you know, Babs is kind of talking once a Batgirl, always a Batgirl, and that's really just kind of where it goes in terms of the plot. I don't know what else I can really say about this thing. I guess kind of give some final thoughts on the overall run as a whole. Like I said, there's things I liked about it, and then there's things I disliked. I feel like it felt like this series overall had a major disconnect with the rest of the DC universe. Earlier on, they were written like they were preteens, and I think that put a lot of people off, myself included, the wrong way. I think if it just was a bit of an Elseworld thing, it stood on its own. I think it was fine for younger readers, but it just felt a major disconnect with everything else in the rest of the DC universe. It could have been a lot better, is what I'm saying. And if you're a Cassandra Cain fan, and if you're a Barbara Gordon, if you're a Stephanie Brown fan, I feel like you should have gotten a better book overall. I was looking forward to this thing. Like I said, this creative team did a book I liked, which was Gotham Academy, and we did get some Gotham Academy characters coming in at times, but sometimes the artwork made them look really off-putting at times. The storyline was never as interesting as I think the concept could have been. I liked the idea of Barbara Gordon mentoring these two, but I just didn't really... there's moments of it, but it just didn't leave me as satisfied as I would have hoped. There's not like one big overarching story that I thought just kind of carried itself through to the very end, that really just kind of kept me captivated for these 20 issues. I know it says issue 19, but they did have the annual. The best issue really was that annual where we had Steph and Cass basically switching body places, and you had the conversation with Shiva to Stephanie, like really talking to Cassandra. I thought that stuff was all quite interesting, and then you had moments where Steph seemingly died, but then she's kind of brought back to life right away. But by the end of this thing, it just felt like another Batgirls adventure. It didn't feel like a grand conclusion to a specific story arc. I didn't feel like we went on this big grand journey. It just kind of ends like any other story arc, if that makes sense. But as it stands as an issue itself, I thought the issue itself was fine. All right, really. Nothing all that memorable, but nothing that's truly insulting or just straight up terrible like a lot of other comics are. Still, I am glad that I stuck through Batgirls from beginning to end, because like I said, I do really like these characters, and I wanted to see them go on some interesting adventures. Now, the series at times was interesting, but I feel like they kind of lost their momentum a long time ago, and I think it's time for the next creative team to really kind of take these characters in a new, more interesting direction. Hopefully, like we'll get a little bit of a break post this series, and then they'll move into something new. I know Cassandra Cain is in Spirit World. I don't know where Stephanie Brown's going to end up. Probably maybe some anthology book or something down the line. But DC is we're going to be going to this Night Terrors event next month, which is going to be a crazy thing to have to cover on the channel. channel, but I think post Night Terrors, we'll get a better grasp of where everyone's going to end up within the series in DC Comics and that. So if you're a Cass fan, go check out Spirit World, I guess. I haven't really read the first issue yet. And if you're a Steph fan, I have no idea where she's going to end up next. And if you're a Barbara Gordon fan, well, she appears in Nightwing this week, and she's also appearing in Titans. And Barbara will be fine. I think Cass will also appear in Detective Comics, and Steph will just kind of have to wait and see where she ends up. So there's a lot of potential with these characters to go in some interesting directions, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see if somebody really crafts that like really captivating Batgirl story that I'm kind of been waiting for. So only time will tell. But anyways, if you have any thoughts on this issue or this series as a whole, let me know in the comment section down below. Sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications. I got a bunch more comic reviews to cover today. After this, I'm going to talk about Nightwing, I'm going to talk about Titans, and then we will, I still got like 2 more issues, which I'll get out later on today, of like Superman and Batman Superman World's Finest, and then tomorrow it'll be the Godzilla comic book that's brand new and all that other stuff. So look forward to a lot of stuff. All right, well, that's all I got to say. I'm just kind of keep this one rather brief and quick because I don't really have too many thoughts on it, but thanks for joining me on this journey as I covered every issue of Batgirls. It was a fun time overall. So, but I am excited to move into a new direction. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.